I never thought I'd share this story publicly. Honestly, I didn't even think I'd survive it. But maybe, just maybe, someone needs to hear it. It all started on what felt like a normal Friday evening. My wife Ruth was in the kitchen humming one of her favorite hymns as she cooked. "It is well with my soul." The boys, Elijah and Matthew, were chasing each other around the living room. Laughter filled our home like music. I had just returned from work, exhausted, but grateful. We were a small family, but we had everything we needed: love, peace, and each other. And then, everything changed. There was a knock on the door. I remember Ruth turning down the stove and saying, "Honey, could you get that?" I nodded, not thinking twice. When I opened the door, there was no one there. Just darkness. Then I heard glass shatter in the kitchen. Everything after that moved like slow motion, but with piercing clarity. Screams. A struggle. My son's crying. My wife's voice. Then silence. The man who broke in was later identified as Daniel Okoro, a 32-year-old with a long criminal record. He was high on drugs and desperate for money. He didn't know us. We had done nothing to him, but he took everything from me. I buried my entire world in 1 week. My wife, my sons, my faith, gone. People kept saying, "Be strong. God has a plan." I smiled politely, but inside I was dying. I stopped going to church. I stopped answering phone calls. I spent days just sitting on the living room floor, staring at the photo of my family on the wall. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I just kept hearing their voices, over and over. But louder than their voices was his name, Daniel. I hated him. With every bone in my body, I hated him. I wanted him to rot, to suffer, to feel even a fraction of what I felt. When they caught him a few weeks later, I was invited to attend his court hearing. I didn't go. I couldn't. The thought of seeing his face made me physically sick. Instead, I started writing letters. Not to him, but to God. Angry, broken letters. Where were you? Why didn't you stop him? If you're so good, why let this happen? I never mailed them. I never even finished most of them. But one night, in the middle of my rage, I opened the Bible again. Not because I wanted to, but because I had nothing else left. It fell open to Matthew 18, verse 21. Then Peter came to Jesus and asked, "Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times?" Jesus answered, "I tell you, not 7 times, but 70 times 7. I closed the Bible immediately. "No way," I said out loud. "No way, God. Not this time. This is too much." But the words haunted me. Weeks passed. I started walking again. I'd find myself near the church I used to attend, standing outside the doors but never going in. Until one Sunday morning I walked in. I sat at the back, hidden in the shadows. The pastor's voice sounded distant, until he said, "Bitterness is a prison you build for yourself, but forgiveness is the key to your own freedom." I broke down. Right there in the last row, I wept like a child. People stared, but I didn't care. That week, I prayed for the first time in months. And it was simple. I don't know how to do this, but help me. I don't want to hate anymore. That same night, I called the prison. I want to visit the man who killed my family. I still don't know where I got the strength. Maybe it wasn't mine. The day came. I walked into the prison with hands trembling, knees weak. I sat in the visitation room, waiting. My heart pounded like a drum. And then, the door opened. He walked in. I looked up, and there he was. Daniel. He looked thinner, older than his age, broken. He wouldn't meet my eyes at first. He sat down, head bowed. For a moment, neither of us said a word. The silence was louder than anything I'd ever heard. Finally, he looked at me. Tears were already in his eyes. And then, with a voice that cracked, he said, "I'm sorry. But I can never undo what I did. I wish I could trade my life for theirs. I don't expect your forgiveness. I just wanted you to know I'm sorry, My throat tightened. I couldn't breathe. My fists clenched on the table. Everything in me wanted to scream at him, to ask why. But then peace. A strange, deep peace. I took a deep breath and said, "I forgive you." His eyes widened. His lips trembled. He didn't say anything. He just cried. And I cried too. That day didn't bring my family back. But something else came back, me. Forgiveness didn't erase the pain, but it took away the chains. It gave me the freedom to live again, to breathe again, to feel again. And in that prison room, I finally understood what Jesus meant. Forgiveness isn't about the other person. It's about healing your own soul. So I looked my family's killer in the eye, and I said the words that set me free.